Hi, everybody. This is the Hungry Math Professor here. Thank you for coming to my channel. And today I'm going to do a short review of Exhalation by Ted Chiang. This is a collection of short stories that was published in 2019. It is sci-fi, and I was very impressed by the short stories. I'll admit I don't have much experience reading short stories, and I was really impressed with the flexibility of the medium. At least when I read Exhalation, I was really impressed with how, you could take just 3 to 100 pages and just explore a very simple but interesting idea, just a small insight or pivot, and just make it into a story. And you don't have to develop a bunch of characters, and you don't have to develop a bunch of plot, because in a short story you get to just kind of like focus on one small idea, and just kind of like tease it out for us. So I was really impressed with that. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's really nice to do that with sci-fi, because Ted has some really sort of interesting ideas sometimes to just kind of um, make us rethink what the future of artificial intelligence might look like, or robots, or all these different things. And one of the things I think Ted is good at in this collection is reminding us that, yes, the future is going to be different, and we should think about the ways in which it would be different. But humans are still, in some sense, going to be humans. We've been around for so long. And so there are certain trends that we have, there are certain things that we do, and we shouldn't be surprised by those things. And so as we project forward and try to understand how technology is going to change and how AI is going to change, we still have a lot of insights about what humans do in these sort of changing environments. And so I see Ted in this collection as um, showing us different ways the world can be in the future, but then also reflecting on how humans will respond to those changing technologies in very predictable ways. And I thought that was really interesting how he did that. I just want to mention two the short stories that were really interesting to me. I actually liked every single one. Also, I just want to mention at the end of my version of the book, there for each of the stories, there's like a little short couple of paragraphs by Ted, just giving you a little insight into how he came up with the story. And I really enjoyed like reading each short story, reflecting on it by myself a little bit, and then reading what Ted had to say about like where this idea came from. That was really satisfying. So check that out. One of the short stories is called "What's Expected of Us." This one is the shortest one. It's about maybe just 4 pages long, and but really interesting what he does here, which is he explores this device that makes it obvious to people that there is no free will, and he explores sort of how people respond to that. In philosophy, there is the question of whether people have free will or not. Um, that has been debated for a really long time. And a lot of philosophers believe that we don't have free will, or they try to thread the needle on that. One famous philosopher, Daniel Dennett, who recently died, but I saw actually Ted Chiang and Daniel Dennett do a discussion of artificial intelligence at the New Yorker Festival last year. And Daniel Dennett's famous for believing that free will is an illusion. And what he means by that is that we have something like free will, but it's not what we imagined or what we tend to imagine. And that's the sense in which it's an illusion. And so philosophers can debate whether we have free will or not. But then there's the psychological question of whether it's advantageous as human beings to know that we don't have free will, or whether it's better for us to act as if we do have free will, or just to, whether we're just programmed to assume that we have free will. And I think what Ted is exploring here is that question. Like, if we don't have free will, and there's an device which points that out to people that we don't, how does that affect their psychology, and what does that do to them? And so I would encourage you to check out this story, because it's a really interesting look into what possibly could happen in that situation. And then another story I just want to highlight is the life cycle of software objects. This is, I think, the longest story in the collection, or one of the longest. This one's very interesting as well, where you see these robots that are being designed called digients. And what's interesting about them or what's different about them is instead of designing a robot with a particular personality like fully developed, with the Digiants, you have to like raise them almost like kids. You have to like teach them things. You have to kind of help them develop their personality, let them evolve. And so you have to put in a good amount of work, just like, raising kids or something. And what's interesting though, because they're not biological human kids that you're raising, if something gets screwed up, you can always just kind of like revert back to a previous model and try again. And again, I think here he's exploring a lot of our humanness that like when we're raising these digiants, we're very tempted to go back and start again, maybe start again too many times. We're not willing to stick with some of the mistakes and try to work them out over time. And also he shows that like a lot of people just get bored of it. Maybe they spend a good year developing their Digiant, but then they move on to something else or something better comes out or and we move on. So a lot of ways I think he's just exploring the human desire to be entertained, but then kind of try something out and move on. And it doesn't quite work so well with these Digiants. And anyway, there's a lot more to that story than what I think I just teased out. So check it out and check out all the stories. They're very interesting and let me know what you think and like, subscribe, and comment to this channel. And I hope to see you at another video.